Turning to Ottawa now, Foreign Affairs Minister Mélanie Joly says she will not run for the leadership of the Liberal Party.
I had to ask myself two questions. The first one is, am I ready to be the first woman to lead the Liberal Party of Canada? And the answer is yes. And am I ready at the same time to step away from my responsibilities as Minister of Foreign Affairs at a time where it is a crucial time in the Canada-US relationship? And the answer is no. And the reality is I can't do both.
Joly was expected to run, but she says she's choosing to stay in her current role as the incoming American administration threatens to impose a 25% tariff on all Canadian goods. Joly will travel to Washington, D.C. next week to speak with lawmakers. Meanwhile, former Bank of Canada Governor Mark Carney is reportedly getting ready to launch his leadership bid next week. Leadership hopefuls have until January 23rd to declare. The Liberals hope to have a new leader picked by March 9th. And for more on where the Liberal leadership race stands, we're joined by former member of Liberal Parliament Adam Vaughan, who is now a principal with communicator firm Navigator. Adam, many people had expected Foreign Affairs Minister Mélanie Joly to run for the Liberal leadership. Why do you think she's decided not to?
Well, caucus support is really lining up between the two major candidates, which would be Chrystia Freeland and Mark Carney. And as a result of that, a lot of the candidates are taking a second look at their prospects, looking at the short campaign, the high stakes, the high cost to get in, and have just decided to bow out. And I think that while they have reasons to, in the case of Minister Joly's situation, they're talking about the really serious threats that the Trump administration is posing to Canada. But I think you're going to see a smaller and smaller field of candidates.
Just two people have confirmed they're running, and neither are what we would call big names. Who do you see making a bid?
Well, I think Freeland, Carney. The question then becomes Karina Gould from Burlington and Christy Clark, the former premier from BC, are said to be kicking the tires. But I really, with the rules that were set out just last night, with the $350,000 entrance fee, with the change in who gets to vote, I think it favors big campaigns, and there's a very short period of time to organize and raise the money, let alone execute a campaign. So the real challenge, I think, is for the candidates that do run, is they literally are going to have to build a leadership campaign and a leadership platform, a throne speech, and a campaign platform for a general election all in one fell swoop. And that is going to be a very difficult set of hurdles to clear simultaneously. And so that's really why I think, A, you're getting a smaller field, but also why it's going to be very intense and a very quick race.
They really have a matter of days to do so. Do you think the tone of the election has shifted? Initially, it was thought to be a referendum on the carbon tax, but have the musings of the president-elect changed that channel?
Absolutely. I mean, it's the existential threat to Canadian industry and the impact on Canadian consumers that 25% tariffs and perhaps a Canadian response are going to have is quite substantial. You're going to see if we engage in a tariff war, you're going to see consumer prices go through the roof. If you thought a couple of years after COVID was tough, what do you see what Trump's about to do to us? And the same is going to happen in the States. It may be a reason why we come to a solution very quickly. But other issues are starting to come to the forefront. The issue of water, the issue of supply management, the dairy sector, the issue of energy, the issue of the auto sector. The implications for this 25% tariff, it is not a walk in the park for either country, and Canada's going to have some serious announcements the next couple of days as how they intend to retaliate. But if it gets in a tit-for-tat war, watch out. Consumers are going to be hit, and they're going to be hit hard.
That's Adam Vaughan from communications firm Navigator. Adam, thanks so much for joining us.
Good evening.